Hey, Chef Eric here with Steakager. Standing beside me is a very special guest. Normally, the meat is the star of the show, but today we have with us Liam Dertinger. Liam is a 2016 Chopped Junior champion. He has come here today. He has had a Steakager for the past couple of months, and he has put it to the test and has dry aged this awesome prime bone-in ribeye. So, welcome, Liam.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming in and wanting to do this video with me and the Steakager family.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's really awesome to have you here. So first, I just wanted to talk about, we're going to talk about Chopped Junior, but let's talk about your experience with the Steakager.
Okay.
I understand your dad saw it and was like, we got to get this. And tell me about, what you thought, like when you first got it, and you know how excited you were.
Okay, so
What
when I first got it, I thought it was pretty cool because most dry aged steaks were expensive and you could only get them once or twice a year at fancy restaurants. So I thought it would be nice to be able to dry age a steak at home. I started using it a little bit towards the start of spring when I started to make bone-in ribeye, and it's great. It's really fun to use. It's not too hard to set up. It works very well, and it seems to make really nice meat.
Mm-hmm. So this is Liam's first experience, his first dry aged meat. He lives in New York, so I'm sure that you have been to more than just a few steakhouses that serve dry aged beef.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go out on a limb and say he's a big fan.
I am a
Big fan of dry aged beef. So Steakager was a perfect match with Liam. So yeah, so they kind of said, hey, why don't we get together? You can kind of show us how to do a ribeye, break it down. I've done breakdown videos before, but this is a special, chopped junior version of it. So yes, where normally I would show you, I'm going to show Liam, and I'm going to let Liam take over. So we're going to get right to this meat. So here we have a beautiful bone-in. They call this a lip-on ribeye. It is prime, and it is beautiful. As you can see, it's beautifully dry aged. And how long did you go on this?
We went 40 days.
40 days. This is right in my sweet spot. 35 to 45 days is my sweet spot. So we've done a couple of trimmings just so we didn't take too much camera time. It had the flat bones attached, so we took the flat bones off. And it does have the round bones, those glorious, lovely round bones, that we kind of pre-cut a little bit because it doesn't make for great video. So we're going to just pop these out. And typically, Liam, why don't you tell them what we did to kind of get these bones loose?
So with the knife, you basically just held it kind of like stab someone, and we went under the bone all the way around. We tried to basically just maneuver the bone just so you could see where you were going and get under the bone and try to remove as little meat as possible. And
Correct.
just
Yeah.
pop the
So we can, pop them. You might have to finish one or two, but. And he's putting them on a plate because we're absolutely going to save those. He's going to bring them home. He's going to put them in with the pellicle, and he's going to make a dry-aged beef stock, and maybe even bring it down even further
demi-glaze.
and make a demi-glaze. So, yeah, he's pretty excited about that. So, I always say, I hear people talking about, waste, and to me, it's not waste. Not only do you get to make a great beef stock out of it, but what you lose in pellicle, you gain in flavor, you gain in tenderness. So it's not really a loss in my eyes. So we're going to go ahead, and the first thing you're going to want to do after you remove those round bones is you're going to want to remove both faces, both sides. So the pellicle is quite hard, and this particular cut, I don't know if you can show this, but has a bone right on the end. So we're going to kind of go on this side of the bone, which is going to be usually, it's going to be a little bit thicker than what I would normally cut off. Normally, I would cut off about, an 1/8 of an inch, 1/4 of an inch, but because the position of this bone, and we don't have a bandsaw, we're going to kind of go on this side of the bone and cut it off. So basically, we're going to feel the bone, going to go right down the side, and we're going to cut this face off. Again, cutting more than typical, just because of the position of that bone. And of course, this will not go to waste either, because this will be part of the beef stock. Okay, that first cut usually is your first indication of what the marbling is going to look like. So here, obviously, it's prime, it's beautiful. This being a lip-on roast, you have a extra kind of layer of fat surface. You have your spinalis here, which a lot of folks think is the most delicious part of the animal. And yeah, we're going to put that right over there, and let's see what we got here. This is like opening up a Christmas present. It's beautiful. You can see that the beautiful mahogany color, and yeah, it smells just beautiful.
It smells like charcuterie.
It smells like charcuterie. That's right. So now what you're going to do, you can go either way. This has pretty wide bones. Some folks might choose to do one boneless, one bone in, one boneless. I find it just better to do the bone in. You have you can feed at least two people on a big thick bone in, sometimes 3 depending on how the eaters in your family eat. So we're going to go ahead, and I'm going to actually let you cut the next one. And when you do cut this, your bone in ribeye especially, do it rib up, because that really gives you an idea of where the bone is. And you can see that they kind of curve a little bit, so you're going to kind of want to cut and clear that piece right there. So if you want to start from here, but then get your knife right up against the bone, and go for it. And this is going to be quite a thick steak. Yep, and if you need to just score it, just to get your line, and yeah, perfect. This is a big steak. This is a steak that, if you have a smoker at home, you have a smoker at home?
No, we haven't had the stovetop smoker.
Okay. This is a steak, it's probably about 3 pounds. This would be great in a smoker. And smoking is just kind of like the same as reverse sear, because you're going to cook it low and slow. And then once it gets up to a certain temperature, then you're going to sear it at the end. I've had smoked prime ribeye, and it's really awesome. So the pellicle seems to be pretty soft. You're able to cut through it. Let's see what we got there. This is a gorgeous steak. That is a monster steak. So we're going to cut the steaks. We're going to cut another one. This one will be, if you want, we can cut one boneless just to show, and then cut the bone, and maybe we'll throw the boneless one on.
Alright.
Because we're going to cook it all in a pan. So you want to go right up against that bone as close as you can. And this will be about, an inch. And just, guide it. Let the bone be your guide. There you go. That's right. It's perfect. So, of course I want to ask him how he got to be on Chop Junior. Because I don't know, people say I should be on Chopped and all that, and it's how was the process? I mean, did you have to go on the internet? Did you what did you do?
Well, it was long. I could just tell you that. First of all, it starts off with you have to find the show's audition, which is not easy.
Okay.
Just because they don't want the average mom who their kid made an omelet to try out for a cooking show. So they kind of hide it a little bit, but then they kind of, when you find it, they ask you a lot of questions, at least like 50-page questionnaire.
What's your culinary point of view?
Yeah, stuff like that.
Okay.
So you have to film, and there's a lot of online questionnaires, and then there's live things where they have people talking to you. So there's a lot of a lot of steps to get on, but it's all worth it in the end, I guess.
So do you know how many applicants they get?
I think they said they get around 4,000, but they narrow it down to 1,000 after the first,
In a couple of years. What you're talking.
After the first 1,000, that's when it kind of starts to get like, okay, these are all kids who could be on the show.
Mhm.
Now we have to narrow it down to the best.
Yeah, so then they figure they have enough applicants, and then they probably cut it off.
Yep.
So, did you have like face-to-face interviews? Did you have phone interviews?
All three. We had questionnaires, live interviews, phone interviews, Skype interviews where they made me make a dish for them live on Skype for 30 minutes and stuff. So that was kind of challenging. I made a steak Oscar. Very nice, fresh, everything's really
Classic.
good. Classic.
That's awesome.
And so that was my dish for them, and they really loved me. They thought I was brought good energy, and I knew what I was talking about. And so they let me on. A couple of days later, they told me that I'd be on the show in a couple of months. So
Nice.
from there on, it was just
And
incredible.
so, what I dying to know, what was it like when you first saw like the Chop set?
Well, I first saw it, and I was kind of shocked because of the fact that on TV you see this much, but the set is huge. They got big cameras going around. I think they called it like the crane because it was a giant, like 40-foot high camera.
Wow.
See, everything's kind of like cut out, so like they have the fancy backgrounds, and then it's just like styrofoam and padding up, so you don't even see most of it. So it was interesting to see how a show I've watched for years is made. It's very different.
Awesome. That's cool. Your turn. Next. So I'm starting to think that this is too thin for us to eat, so we should put on a thicker steak. See, and let me come around you before I... So this steak, I'm coming back. You can see here, this is lip on, right? That's the spinalis. So most of the time when you're buying a prime roast, is this has all been removed, and this is your fat cap under here. And you can see it just peels right off. So this is, and I'm going to do it with my hands just because I can. I'll go over here, right next to you.
Should I do number 2?
Sure, go for
Why
it.
not? This one's gonna be thick, I'll tell you that.
All right, so here's what typically most folks know as a ribeye. And here is that piece. It's mostly fat with a couple really nice marbled pieces in here. So I think this will be great with the stock. And I'm gonna, while he's doing that, I'm gonna just show a little bit about Frenching the bone, because here you got a lot of fat here. Since dry aged beef cooks so quickly, it really doesn't give you enough time to render out that fat. So I'm going to trim this piece of fat off, and I think we're going to French the bone too. So I want to make them look nice. Okay. The pellicle actually on this is really, really not too deep, so I'm going to trim a little bit of it off, but it's really pretty soft. Now look at you go. Good job, chef. So here, you know, just trimming off the pellicle, some of the extra bits. Anything that's like hard, you're going to want to cut that off. So, and being really careful, because this spinalis, like I said, is the most flavorful part. That's a beautiful thing. So you're going to French the bone. I'm sure you know about Frenching the bone.
Yep.
So we're going to go ahead and do that, just to give folks an idea on how to do it. Just going to cut this down, go against the bone, cut it here, and just trim the bone as close as possible. All these go in. You can render the fat out if you want. The fat has a lot of dry aged flavor in it. Okay. French that bone. And you basically take a little time and work on it, because you really want to get it so it's absolutely clean. And then don't forget the back. A little piece of fat here. This is a really beautiful cut. So you'll scrape this bone. You know, we all hear about the tomahawk steaks, right? Obviously this bone is
Much
the
larger.
rib of a cow. So it's really large, and that's what they do. They'll French that whole bone. And this, I think this is the piece we're going to cook.
Alright.
How's that sound?
Good.
Okay. Awesome. So back to Chop Junior. For those of you that might not have seen the episode, what were the winning dishes that you made?
All right.
And what was the basket ingredients? That
Okay.
would be a good thing.
So, if you haven't watched Chop, there's 3 rounds: appetizer, entree, and dessert. For the appetizer round, it was ground beef, baby spinach, presidential chocolate seals, and just chocolate, and chive blossoms. And the trick to the basket, there's always like a trick to them. This one was there wasn't much spinach, and so if you cook spinach, it shrinks a lot. So if you cooked it, you wouldn't have enough to put on 4 plates. That was kind of the challenge aspect of it. And 2 people recognized it, 2 didn't. I was one that recognized it, so I decided to make a sauce, make a pesto with spinach. And so my total dish was a chive blossom infused slider with bacon, Gruyere cheese on a garlic rubbed crostini with
Sounds awesome.
with basil and spinach pesto and an orange liqueur chocolate glaze on the burger. It's like the richness of the chocolate and just the leanness of the meat would go really well together. And what the judges said is it did go well. So that was on appetizer. For the entree round, it was not my best. That was my worst round. It was a pork tenderloin, a baked potato cake, so a giant cake that was just a normal vanilla cake with fondant and cocoa powder, but looked like a baked potato. Had a little starburst on top, microwaved to work on a pat of butter.
So Starbursts were in the basket.
Yeah, they were in the basket. And kind of funny story is the fact that they wouldn't let you say Starburst, so you had to say melted yellow lemon flavored candy. That was like
How hard was that?
It was very annoying. You'd miss up, and then they'd be like, "All right, start the whole thing over again." A lot.
Yeah.
So for that dish, they also gave Thumbelina carrots, which are short and stumpy, which is tough because if you cut them like a normal carrot, you're having uneven sizes throughout the whole thing, so it's tough, and I screwed up. And mousseron mushrooms, which are these small, really meaty, delicious mushrooms. So I decided to do the pork with a mushroom cream sauce, some brown sugar glazed carrots, and some pasta with a mushroom medley, some onions, garlic, and everything. And my biggest screw up was the fact that I didn't add enough sauce to the pasta, and my Thumbelina carrots some were overcooked, some were perfect, some were overcooked, and some were undercooked and everything. So it mixed together. It wasn't great, but I made it to the final round, and then I made it to dessert, which I'm not a dessert chef. I cook. That's it. I don't bake at all. And when I just saw a bunch of fresh fruit, some stuff to make a strudel, I was like, done. No baked dessert, just cook some fruit, get some stuff on top, some like cobbler, but I decided to go with streusel. So I threw a bunch of different fruits. We had Granny Smith apples, blueberries, and whipped honey in a pan. And then I added some lemon juice and orange juice to counter the acidity, to add acidity to counter the sweetness of everything. And I just finished it with the streusel, which was made with graham crackers and brown sugar. Topped it, bruleed it, finished it with some mini marshmallows and some chiffonaded mint. And look, powdered sugar, perfect. Judges loved it. It was a little too sweet, but they said if you have a sweet tooth, you'd love it. And in the end, I won. And it was great. It's a cool experience.
So I'm gonna. Okay, so we're back again, Liam, Eric, and we just, as you saw, broke down the ribeye. And Liam is going to go ahead and put that ribeye into a pan because we got to taste it. And he's going to tell you all about it. I'm going to come over, and I'm going to be over here, and I'm going to continue to trim these steaks. And yeah, take it away.
Alright, so the first thing I'm going to do is just season with some salt. No pepper, because pepper will burn when the nice one sear. And first I'm searing it all in the fat cap. Get that out of the way first. Let that go. Just for a little while. It doesn't need to go too long. And something a little different about dry aged meat is the fact that it will cook a lot faster. There's a lot less water content. So less steaming, less water to have to bring to a boil, so it will cook much, much faster. And stand. Nope. kind of interesting that I've been trying to make recently is something called tuna conserve, which is a, let me check this, almost there. It's something called tuna conserve, which is what I want to call homemade canned tuna. It's basically the same way you make canned tuna, but in a traditional way, where you basically take olive oil, heat it with several aromatics, onion, garlic, different herbs, but only on a low heat, not for too long. And then you add in your tuna, whole tuna steak, and that'll give an herbaceous taste to the tuna, but it'll also give it a very fatty and rich taste. So it's still working now. It's sitting in the oil as we speak. Check this. Nice.
So what would you do with that?
You can eat it straight in the salad. That'd be my favorite way, just like crumbling it on top of the salad. But you could add it to a sandwich. You can make a dip, mascarpone cheese, salt, pepper, and that'd be delicious. So
Awesome.
try a bunch of different things with it. Any way you use canned tuna, this is just like A++ canned tuna.
Nice.
Doesn't get much better.
Go ahead. Didn't mean to interrupt.
Yep, it's alright. It's now I just flipped it over and let it sear on the side, and I'm gonna sear it on one side, sear it on the other, let it rest, and we're gonna hopefully get for a temperature at around 120, medium rare.
About how long each side?
We can go about 6-7 minutes on each side.
$80.
80 and 90 bucks.
Give that a nice little flip. And let's see. Let's check the temp. Alright, so let's go. Now when you go right into the middle of it, come in.
Oh, so thermometer?
Yeah. Well, you know what you do is, this is
66 degrees.
drying,
Halfway there.
you know, you want it to and you can feel there's resistance.
Yep.
Still getting there. Look at that, huh? That's going to be phenomenal here. That's a hot pan. Going to cut the meat part out of this.
Okay.
I mean, unless you're planning on rendering out this fat.
Yeah, I'm planning on doing that.
You are? All right. Way to go. You're the man. Okay, we are back. The final cut. My buddy Liam here. We have this beautiful 40-day dry-aged ribeye done by Liam himself, which is awesome. And we got a couple sides over there, some potatoes, some cream spinach. But we're going to get right cutting this. We're going to first cut off the spinalis, which most say is the most flavorful cut of the cow. I'm going to cut it right off the bone. Let's see. Now you always got to look for the grain, right?
Cut against it.
Cut against it. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to do that. Got a nice. You're going to have to put a couple slices back in. It's a little bit rare. Cooked in a real hot pan. It's okay. If you do get it and it's a little too rare, don't be afraid to put it back in the pan a little bit. A couple seconds each side to bring it to where you want it to be. I'd rather have you do that than overcook it. So, cut that. And we got the spinalis here that we are just going to cut right against the grain. Nice char on this. This I think is fine. I think we're going to, well, dig into that. Good. Take a bite. Yes. Like butter?
Like butter. It's ridiculous. Really good.
Mom, Dad, come on in.
That's delicious.
It's my job to feed the camera woman. How's that?
Really
It's cool. We got a char on it. We didn't even put it on a grill.
Yep.
Love that. So we're gonna close out. I want to thank Liam again for coming and this great idea to do this video with us. It's easy for me to say he's a big fan of dry aged beef, and it's easier for me to say he's a big fan of Steakager. But if you want to have any parting words about
I just want to say it's Steakager. It's a great product. It's a great idea. It should be in every household. It's a great way to make good steaks great.
And thanks, Frank and Scott. This is your new youngest fan. And we'll see you next time on the next Steakager video.